All right. So I'd just like to say a big thanks to everyone joining today's webinar, in where we'll be exploring if volunteer impact is the right software for your volunteer organisation. So a little about me, your host. So I'm Daniel Green. I am the software sales advisor here at Better Impact, supporting small to enterprise-sized organisations across UK, Europe and Africa, all exploring our software solutions. You can probably tell from my accent already, but I am born and raised in Essex, UK. I have been with Better Impact now for just over 4 years. And during this time, it has been a real pleasure, helping and supporting people and their organisations to achieve their goals, which is something I'm really passionate about. So just a little bit about me. So the next slide, some takeaways. So just some of the benefits listed on your screen that you will be taking away from today's webinar. These will include common problems facing volunteer service teams. We'll have a quick program assessment of 3 questions. Why the right software tools matter. We'll also include a high-level overview of volunteer impact and a few resources and a link to obtain your PDU certificate for attending today, so stick around. If you're not too sure what a PDU stands for, that is a professional development unit, sometimes also referred to as a CEC, which is a continued education credit. So just some of the problems that you may come across in your daily routines, which may have even lead you to attend today's webinar. Some of these issues could include too much data entry, having that daunting feeling of filling out forms and spreadsheets, whether it's for personal user information or for reporting purposes. Using disconnected tools to do your job and not having that all-in-one stop shop for your needs, or having a streamlined platform to manage all this, which ultimately leads on to not having enough time to lead and engage with your volunteers, which, as you know, can lead to a breakdown of communications or lack of interactions. Finding affordable tools leadership will approve. Oh, bear with me, just letting some latecomers in. There we go. Yeah, so finding affordable tools leadership will approve. We all know everyone has a budget, right? And there are some affordable tools out there. And sometimes you may have to consider, what is this costing your company in lack of software, in which hopefully you can bring to the table for your leadership team to approve. And then it could be having insufficient security of your confidential volunteer data, which, as we all know, is very crucial in this day and age of modern technology. Well, hopefully for most of you, Better Impact has the solution. So talking about protecting your volunteers' data, so how can you tell if a VMS vendor prioritizes data protection? One easy way is to look for the ISO certification. So ISO 27001 is the world's best known standard for information security management systems. ISO certification means that the VMS vendor respects all the best practices and principles enshrined in this international standard. Having the actual certificate rather than simply following the guidelines is an important distinction, because it means the vendor has been audited by an independent body once a year to make sure them standards are being met. So you'll also be pleased to know that we are one of these vendors with ISO 27001, and we are also Cyber Essentials certified as well. Okay, so we're just going to start with a few questions here. Feel free to pop your answers in the chat box. That'd be great. You can choose more than one answer if this reflects you. So question 1, which problem resonated with you the most from the last slide? Was it number 1, too much data entry? Number 2, using too many disconnected tools to do your job? Number 3, not enough time to lead and engage with your volunteers? Number 4, affordable tools that leadership will approve? Or is it number 5, insufficient security of your confidential volunteer data? I'll just give about 30 odd seconds there just to collate some of your answers. Thank you. So Joan Stewart, 2 and 3. Yep, using too many disconnected tools, not enough time to lead and engage. Sarah and Eileen, everyone have put 3 and 4, 1, 2 and 3. Jess has put 2 and 3. Francesca, we are just looking to start a volunteering program, therefore 2 and 4. Michelle Roberts, number 2. Number 2, and Teresa, 1 and 2. Seems to me that the front runner there, I think, goes to number 2, using too many disconnected tools to do your job. So that kind of makes me think that you're probably using something like Excel, Microsoft Google Forms, or just various other kind of softwares. So knowing that it's a streamlined platform, better impact, that should eradicate number 2. And of course, number 4, you know, everyone has purse strings, particularly in this non-profit sector. So that's something definitely to take on board as well. Stuart, if you want to just, in regards to questions, just hold off until the end, if that's okay, because we're just going to be, we're going to hold like a 10-15 minute Q&A towards the end. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. So on to question 2. How are you managing your volunteers currently? Number 1, spreadsheets. Number 2, AVMS, which is a volunteer management software. Or number 3, something else. If it is number 2 or 3, feel free to put in what it is you're currently using, just for feedback purposes. That'd be great. Thank you. Stuart's put the vortex of spreadsheets. Yep. Michelle Roberts, number 1, spreadsheets. Sarah's using Salesforce, 1 and 3, Microsoft Teams. Beacon. So again, I think the front runner here, and I've had this from previous webinars as well, that I think number 1 seems to be the front runner on this one. Excellent. Okay. On to question 3. So question 3, in your opinion, excuse me, in your opinion, what's most at risk if a change doesn't occur sooner rather than later? Is it number 1, volunteer turnover disengagement? Is it number 2, staff turnover disengagement? Number 3, wasted money? Number 4, damage to the org's or program's reputation? Or is it 5, something else? And again, I'll give about 30 odd seconds there, maybe up to a minute, just to collate some of your answers. And again, it could be more than 1. So Sarah's put 1 and 5, lack of ability to grow. So looking for something with a bit of scalability in there. Francesca's put number 4, yep, damage to orgs and programs reputation. Stuart's put 4, +1, +3. 5 is our trust promises. Sarah and Eileen have put 4 and 3 and 4 respectively. Teresa's put 1, 2 and 3. Brilliant. So it seems to me 4 seems to be the front runner on this one. Damage to orgs and programs reputation, absolutely. And number 2, staff turnover and disengagement. Excellent. Thanks everyone for your input there. So did you know that more than half of all employees are unhappy at work because of the software tools they're using? Well, 51.95% says yes. Have you ever become dissatisfied at work due to missing or mismatched software? And just to let you know, these stats have come from G2's 2019 State of Software Happiness Report. So it just proves that being provided the right tools to perform the job plays into our level of job satisfaction. So when the right tools are not in place, our level of efficiency and effectiveness decreases. This is just one factor that can contribute towards our unhappiness in our role. So this is quite an alarming stat. So about 1 in every 8 employees has actually quit a job because of mismatched software. So the fact that this is a cited reason for people leaving a job speaks to just how important it is to outfit employees with the right tools for the job. So turnover is disruptive to progress and goal attainment. So let's get you and your team working with the tools that make you feel less frustrated and rather more empowered and productive when you do your job. And now it's time to explore how volunteer impact can help you achieve just that. So I'm just going to switch screens. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, can everyone see my screen okay with my admin dashboard? Brilliant. So yeah, so this is what I'm going to be conducting with now is a high-level overview of the software. I'd love to, try and squeeze in all the features and functionality the software offers. So I'm going to just keep it to a high-level overview and try and cover most I can. So what you're seeing right now on your screen is the dashboard of what we call a standard edition account. So there are 2 different style of accounts within Better Impact and Volunteer Impact. We have the standard edition, which is ideal if you're one organisation handling one database of volunteers. We'll also have an enterprise edition software as well, where you have like this super user level called enterprise level administrators. They are kind of like the head office, and below them you would have what we call sub-accounts. So what the enterprise actually means and what it suits is for organisations that have different departments, different locations, or even shops and branches, which we call sub-accounts. And in them sub-accounts, you would have administrators only be able to access, communicate with, and manage their volunteers in their sub-account or their branch or their department. So we're obviously going to focus on standard. This could also be a sub-account within an enterprise, by the way, as well. So when you log in as an admin, this is your dashboard. This is what you're presented with. As you can see, it is an end-to-end VMS, so it will manage, you will be able to manage your volunteer's journey right from the start application, right through everything in the middle to the end when they're archived. Okay. We have some statuses that represent their journey along with your organisation. But what I'm going to jump on and start off with, first of all, is the application side of things, the recruitment and the onboarding. Something you will be able to do is create something called a public page, which could look something like this. So a public page is like your advertising, a landing page. You'll be able to customize this to your own branding. As you can see here, this is what we call a banner. So your branding and your logo will be at the top here. You'll also be able to customize the color of the tabs and the font. And on your public page, which, by the way, once you have created this, you're going to hyperlink this to your website, and that's where you'll drive for recruitment as well. So you'll be able to add like a news feed on your public page. You'll be able to showcase your opportunities, which are general interests. So these are more like want ads. So these are the kind of interests that volunteers or applicants are interested in. So these would be things like administration, events, food and catering. This is all based upon a museum, by the way, my demo account. You can add images and description on all these general interests as well. You can also publicly advertise your activities, which are the actual roles that the volunteers will be signing up for. And then at the bottom, you'll be able to include, about us, which we call like a mission statement. And then back up to the top on the right-hand side, you'll have a social media feed. So this would include Facebook and X, formerly known as Twitter. And, once you have created this, like I said, this will be added to your website. if I go to your website, I'm interested in volunteering with your organisation. I'm going to click on here, fill in application form. And now what this represents is me taking the next step onto the registration process. So once I click on this page, this tab here, it's going to take me to step 1 of the registration process. As you can see, this is still all branded by your organisation. What this represents is that I just actually need to register with what we call a My Impact Page account. For some of you not too sure what that is, that's the volunteer login portal. So volunteers will have their own portal, their own profile. On this My Impact Page portal, they'll be able to update their personal information as of when they want to. They'll be able to sign up for any activities and any shifts that you would have created as an administrator. They'll be able to see that in a list or a calendar format, and they'll be able to log their hours and any feedback fields required as well. So just like most things online these days, I just have to register with a username and a password and my address. Then I'm going to go through to fill out your application. On this page as well, you can also add things like links to policies if they need to read anything before they take the next leap of filling in your application form. You can add this here as well. So once I've registered, or it could be that I already have a My Impact Page account. It could be that I've been volunteering with another organisation that was using Better Impact. I can still log in with my credentials. Once I've done that and I've registered, then I go through to the application form. Again, as you can see here, all branded by your organisation, and the colours of the backgrounds and the tabs. So just give you a quick insight into the application form. So first of all, there is a general availability chart. So your volunteers or applicants will be able to pick and choose their availability to volunteer with yourselves. These are the general interests. So again, I can just check boxes to what I am interested in regards to volunteering with your organisation. Qualifications. So again, these are ones we created. Obviously, your own ones will be on this application form. You can have them ranked, matched. You can add expiry dates to qualifications as well, which is great for auditing purposes. And I'll tell a little bit more about qualifications when we go back to the dashboard. And then we have your additional information, which what we call are the custom fields. So custom fields, I like to call them your customized data collecting questions. So these could be, for example, things like references, emergency contact information, what languages can you speak, what t-shirt size are you, whatever it is you need to collect as data from applicants and volunteers, create them as custom fields. You can manipulate what type of answers you want with custom fields as well. So you can have things like short text boxes, you can have drop-down menus, you can have date fields, number fields, check boxes. You can also have a file upload as well. So if you do need to gather something like a CV or a driver's license, for example, choose file upload, and that would give the applicant the opportunity to download a file. And you can put these into categories as well. As you see here, we've got an About You category. There's a References category. You can even make some of these custom fields mandatory as well. So they need to be filled in order to complete and submit the application. So once I have completed and filled in that application form, I'm just going to submit application form, and I'm going to land in your Better Impact account automatically as an applicant. Okay, and I will sit there until you determine where I go next, depending on your screening process. So talking about the statuses, so the next ones are long. So we have in process. So these are all kind of applicants that you're just waiting to approve or reject, like a qualification or a custom field, for example. Something I forgot to mention is that you can add permission settings on custom fields and qualifications as well. There's 4 permission settings. You've got private, which is great for EDI sensitive information. You've got read only, you've got read write with approval, and read write without approval. It was a reference, for example, when you want to select the permissions to be read write with approval, or it's a qualification, they will flag up here on your dashboard. And it'll be down to you as the admin just to go on just to either, accept or reject that custom field or that qualification. Next one along is all your accepted volunteers. So these are all your current active volunteers in the software. These are probably more kind of towards the end of the journey. So you have inactive. I like to call this the leave of absence status. So these are all volunteers that are, maybe having a holiday, maybe just having a break from volunteering, medical, maternity leave, whatever the case may be. You can even dictate if they're going to be short-term or long-term. But at some point, they will return back to your program, and by all means, you can just make them accepted again. And lastly, you got archived. So this is everyone that's, moved on, resigned. Maybe they were rejected at the start through your screening process. As you can see, there are some options to choose on the archive status as well. And just to let you know, for billing purposes, we only do invoice you for accepted and inactive volunteers as well, because how our pricing works is based upon the number of volunteers you manage within the platform. So we don't charge you or bill you for any volunteers going through the screening process or archived as well. The system will alert you as well on this dashboard, as I mentioned, for any kind of custom fields or qualifications that are awaiting approval. As I've mentioned, you will be able to add expiry dates to qualifications, and when they are due to expire soon, the system will flag up when they're expiring. So you can just click on this, say there's 12 people, and you can reach out to them just to prompt them that, hey, XYZ, your qualification, your DBS background check, whatever it may be, is expiring soon. Please look to renew that. As you may know, that might not make them eligible now for the roles they're already contributing towards. And hopefully they don't fall into this category of expired qualifications. So that's really great for auditing purposes as well. We've got hours approvals and volunteers on the clock. So another feature we have is that volunteers will be able to sign in. If you do have a device at the place of where they're volunteering, like a laptop or a tablet, for example, they will be able to log in and log out from that shift as well. Or we have a time clock kiosk express mode, which allows them to scan a QR scan code as well. So think of it as like an online punching card. And that's great for health and safety purposes. It will bring up or show up here on the dashboard the volunteers on the clock if they're using that. And I forgot to also mention about the My Impact page that it is also app-based as well. So your volunteers will be able to use it on the go as well. And free to download on any Android or iPhone device. It will also flag up birthdays and anniversaries as well, so you can keep on top of that, and you can send emails, wishing them birthdays or congratulating them on anniversaries. Now, on the top right here, pinned searches. So just remember that, because I'm going to focus on that very shortly for you. But what I'm going to focus on now are these main icons in the top left. So this house, this home image here, click on that. It always takes you back to the home page. You've then got our people search. So where you want to create a search and a filter, if you just want to create a list of everyone that has a driver's license qualification, for example, a list of just volunteers that volunteer at weekends only, you'll be able to do that on here. And also, it could be that you do have the odd volunteer that could be, let's say, quite elderly or not quite IT tech savvy, and they'll maybe struggle to use the My Impact page, even though it is user friendly. You can add volunteers manually into the software yourself as well. You can do that. If you know they're not going to be using the My Impact page, you can just check a box and it'll give them a generic username and password as well. But hopefully they'll go through the recruitment process. And when they do land in your applicant, it does create that profile automatically for you with all that information that they completed on the application form stored on that volunteer profile. You then got the megaphone image here. I will go into these in a little bit more detail as well. This is where you can communicate. You can do a sign and check out your calendar to see which shifts still need kind of focus on, which are not being filled in yet. We've got a reporting section as well. But we're going to just quickly go on to the configuration icon. So if you're brand new, whether you're trialing the software, you've purchased the software, you're going to use this configuration icon quite a bit at the start, because this is where you configure all that information. Whenever you click on any of these main icons, all the subcategories pop up here on the left-hand side. So, for example, this is where you can do your branding. So you'll add that banner. And again, this banner will be displayed on a public page, the application forms, and the My Impacts page accounts as well. This is where you'll create your custom fields and your qualifications that you want to use for the application forms. But custom fields and qualifications, they're used for the entirety of Better Impact just to collect that data. They're not necessarily, you don't have to use them for the application forms. They're just there so you can gather as much information on your users as possible. You can award badges to your volunteers as a cool feature. These could be signs of recognition and awards, so things like milestone anniversaries, how many hours they've contributed, qualifications and feedback fields as well. You can download your own images. I'll quickly, I just want to show you. You can download your own images, or we have got templates that you can use as well. And then further down here, just under recruitment, this is where you will create the application forms, the public page that we just went through, and you can generate links to the website as well. And then activities, you can create activities, you can give them kind of, or you can manipulate who sees his activities as well, depending on the qualifications. You know, for example, if you're creating an activity that a DBS background check is needed for them to apply, if I haven't got that DBS background check, once you've created that activity, it won't be visible to me on my impacts page for me to see. So it's a really cool way just to manipulate who sees what activities based on qualifications. By all means, with activities, you can give them shifts like recurring, one time only, which is more for events, disjointed, or just unscheduled as well. So anyone could sign up as of when they're free. And again, they'll be able to sign up for these shifts either from their My Impacts page, but you can do everything on a volunteer's behalf as well. You can assign them up to shifts. You can even log their hours and feedback on their behalf as well. You then got feedback fields. I'm going to show you the feedback fields when we go onto the My Impacts page portal shortly. We'll go something like that. And then down here, we've got some really cool resources. So one big resource is our e-learning module. So you can create online learning content for your volunteers to take. They'll be able to take this from their My Impacts page. This could be anything from like a test, a quiz. It could be acknowledgement that they've read some certain forms or documents. And then you can set like a little kind of pre-populated test quiz as well. And I'll just show you what one quickly looks like. So let's go to, just go my one. So with the learning modules, you can add GIFs, images, videos, links as well. You can set as much kind of text and blurb as you like. So this is the 30-second hand wash. We produced this just on the cusp of COVID. Just give you an idea of what this could look like. And then you can set some questions with pre-populated answers towards the end. You can even set your passing score. Do you want it to be 75% in order for them to pass? Do you want to be a bit more harsh at 100%? You can do that in the World Your Oyster. If they fail, they can keep taking it until they pass, and they'll be able to take this again from their My Impacts page. You can also associate qualifications with these e-learning modules as well. Okay, so let's go back to these icons. So let's go over to the people icon. So here we go on the left-hand side. As I've mentioned, this is where you can add volunteers manually. You'll be able to add administrators as well. You can add unlimited administrators. We don't charge for how many people or admins use the software. If you want to do a quick search, as I've mentioned, you just click on this search here. Now you're presented with this kind of filtering page on selecting the status you want to put a search on. So I'm just going to choose accepted. Just give you an idea, as we mentioned, the background check, the DBS, I'm going to show you that one quickly. So what you want to do, if I just press search, this is going to bring up a list of all my accepted volunteers. Okay, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a search criteria. You're then presented with this drop-down menu, and you can see so much you'll be able to filter and search on as well. You know, feedback fields, activities, committees, general availability, custom fields, qualifications. So I'm going to quickly show a qualification. Scroll down, there we go, background. Your qualifications will obviously all pop up here, and you just select which one. To passed. Expiry date for now. So that's all you need to do. So what I've done is I've created a search with all the volunteers that has the DBS background check that has passed. Now, if you want to save this search, you can do so. Just press save, give it a name, you know, DBS checked. And what you want to do is check that box there that says pin search and then save. And what you've done is you've created a pin search to your dashboard, which is unique to every administrator here as well. So you have just, yeah, you just created that shortcut basically. I'm going to show you another example of the communications section as well. So let's click on the megaphone icon. Now there's three main methods of communication within the software. That's email, texting, and you can do a mail out. You could do this in mass, filtered groups, which I'm going to show you, or just to individuals just by going to the volunteer profile. So here we go. So just two things just to point out on the texting feature. When you send texts, it's only a one-way communication, so the recipients will not be able to reply to that text. And secondly, all volunteers will have the option, if they do want to receive the SMS text and service as well. So let's send an email. Again, you can see we're presented with this where you have to select the status you like to email. Again, I'm just going to choose, I'm going to choose accepted and inactive. Now, if I want to do something like a monthly newsletter, another cool feature to mention as well with the emails is that you can create email templates as well. So if there's a frequent email you send out to all your volunteers, whether it's like qualification reminders that they're expiring soon, whether it's a reminder to all your volunteers just to log their hours before end of the week, you create email templates, save them. It just, you know, makes the whole process a lot easier and quicker as well. So there we go. There's 233 people found, accepted and inactive. Let's say it was a monthly newsletter. Again, if I've saved one as a template, I'll just go over here, select a template. These are all ones we've created. There we go, monthly newsletter. And there we go. You can add a first name or a last name placeholder. So when the recipient receives that email, you know, it's a bit more personal. We say like, hi, Mary, hi, Veronica, hi, Daniel, for example. You can add images, attachments, links into any of these emails. And there we go, just give you an idea of what a monthly newsletter could possibly look like. But again, that's all customized by yourselves. You can even set this to be priority, non-priority. You can even send yourself a test email to begin with as well. When that goes out, that's going to go out to them 233 people. But what I'm going to do now, I'm actually going to add a search criteria. So very similar process to when we done the people search. So I'm actually going to choose a custom field this time. Let's go with and let's go with driver's license. And then the match type is not empty. So basically everyone that has a driver's license, once you've selected your desired search, select and go. There we go, just one person was found. And again, you can repeat the process. And again, if this is a kind of a group of people that you know you're going to generally or frequently communicate with, save it, pin that search, that will land on your dashboard. It updates in real time as well. So if anyone, you know, fits that criteria after you've created that search, they will automatically be added. Just give you an idea of some of the pin searches I've created. So we've got volunteers with driving license, weekend availability, you know, volunteers who have logged 50 plus hours in the past year, qualified for a particular activity. whatever the case may be. And you can see which ones are a list and which one's an email just by the little images next to the pin searches as well. Excellent. So actually, I'm now going to show you a volunteer profile. So in this top right here, I'm going to click this little green person. And in this search bar, I'm going to type the name of my volunteer. So I'm going to use Veronica. She's my demo volunteer. As you can see already, as soon as I start typing, the system will match to what I'm typing. So I've got to put the full name in all the time. There we go, Veronica Smith. And here is Veronica Smith's profile. So this is kind of the main page, a dashboard. You can see you can upload a profile picture of the volunteer as a quick snapshot of contact information, history, most recent contributions, next shift. There's a bar graph showing her hours contributed over each month. Go over the month, it highlights the hours. There's a pie chart showing exactly where her hours have been contributed towards which activities. And of course, you can see Veronica's badges she's been awarded as well. Now, if I go across these sub-tabs at the bottom, I can see her contact information. I can see her custom fields. So this is everything, whether she filled it in on the application form or we filled in some custom fields on her behalf. As you can see, there's a lot more here than maybe what was seen on the application form because a lot of these were set private. So only admins can see these custom fields. I can see Veronica's qualifications. If again, just a reminder, if everyone just put themselves on mute, I'm hearing some kind of background noise, if that's okay. Thank you. There's a general interest, which is selected, general availability, and there is a miscellaneous tab here as well, shows you obviously the date she joined. Even on here, you'll be able to move it. If Veronica's come forward and just to let you know that she's having a break from volunteering, you may want to make her inactive. You can do so on the miscellaneous tab here. Now, these tabs at the top, again, if you just want to communicate with just that particular volunteer, you can send her an email here. You can send a text message as well using the sub-tabs underneath. You can send a personal message. If you send a personal message, this is going to land on the dashboard in her My Impact page. Only Veronica will see this if you just want to thank her for coming in at last minute to help out on an activity. There's an email history. It logs dates, the subject, and from which administrator. Only logs the outgoing emails, not the replies. Same with the text message history. And there's also a note log. So if you need to make any notes on this particular volunteer, you can do so. The volunteer won't see this. Again, this is just for admin eyes only. You can assign the volunteer up for any shifts. You can do this in bulk or individually. You can see Veronica's schedule. So there is in a list format. If I want to see a calendar format, just press view report. And what's really cool about this, I can actually email this to the volunteer as well, or I can even print it off and post it to the volunteer. However, if she's using the My Impact page, she'll be able to see all this as well when she logs in. I can see her hours. I can also log the hours on the volunteer's behalf as well. You can just do some reports just on this particular volunteer if you want to, things like number of hours logged, and there's committees. So committees is you create these committees, you can add volunteers to these committees. It's just a group where they'll be able to email each other within this group as well. So that's a really cool feature. So that's a little bit about the volunteer profile. And just at the top here, let's go to reports. And again, on the left-hand side, as long as you have that data tracked and recorded, you'll be able to report on pretty much anything. So I'll just give you a couple of examples here. So let's do hours by volunteer. Click on here. You will be able to report over any date period as well. So I'm just going to do, let's do last year. View report. And there we go. It's brought up all the hours, all the volunteers, with the volunteer of the most hours at the top. through to the bottom of the list, and it does give you at the bottom total hours, number of volunteers, average per volunteer. And using this reporting system here, you will be able to export all these reports to CSV and Excel as well. There's all kinds of different reports as well. I'll show you an hours trend. There we go. So number of hours by month, number of volunteers with logged hours by month, and so on. And there's also a bespoke, I call it a bespoke report. So general profile raw data. You pick and choose what you want to report on. You know, with demographics, some custom fields, adding some qualifications, some contact information. So you pull that report together. And again, if you want to, you can put it out of Better Impact by exporting it to CSV and Excel as well. All right, I know time is already against me, so I'm just going to quickly, before we go back to the slides, I'm just going to quickly share my screen and show you what the My Impact page looks like from the volunteers perspective. So I am now logged in, obviously on the desktop version of the My Impact page as Veronica. So this is what the volunteer sees. Okay, like I said, this is also app-based. But on here, as you can see, it's still all branded by your organisation. You're going to see a lot of similar information we actually saw from the volunteer profile as well on the admin side. So there we go. There's Veronica's profile picture, upcoming shifts. You can see her badges, social media feed on the My Impact page as well. There's that personal message that only Veronica will see. We have another separate news feed that you can add on to the My Impact page. All volunteers will have access to this news feed. There's your mission statement again. We have another cool feature called a document library, where it's a great place where you can store documents, you know, like waiver forms, policies, volunteer handbooks. And if you want to, you can share these with your volunteers. If you do so, they'll have access to them files here. Now back up to the top. Again, I can see all the opportunities, depending again on the visibility and automation, if I'm qualified for them in either a list or a calendar format. I'll just show you what the calendar format looks like. It's a little bit easier on the eye for me. So these are all the activities, all the shifts that you would have created as an administrator. I can now see this and I can sign up for them. So let's say I want to sign up for tour guide. Again, this is based upon a museum. There's all the information about that activity that you'll be able to add on when you create that. And I could just sign up here. Something you can also do, you can have like a pending sign up as well. So you can have volunteers assign themselves up for activities, but it may need your approval at your end for them to be fully assigned. So that really works well if you do need to cherry pick which volunteers cater for which activities. And that will flag up on your dashboard under pending sign-ups as well. I see Veronica's schedule. Or I am Veronica, so I can see my own schedule, sorry. And again, if I want to see this in the calendar format, there we go, very similar to what we saw on the volunteer profile. And I'll be able to, download and print it off myself if I want to put it on my fridge, for example. This is where I log my hours. So if I've come back from an activity, let's say an information booth attendant, I put in the data I volunteered along the hours and the minutes. And there we go. If there's a feedback field associated with that activity, it will pop up here and it will prompt me to fill out any feedback fields. You can do things like number fields, drop-down menus, short and long text boxes as well. And then I'll log that or save that. And all this information feeds back into your admin portal. If I just want to put a report on myself, I can do so. This is where I want to contact any administrators on the contact tab. And my profile, I can see my information, my qualifications. If I do want to take some training, like you've created an e-learning module, I'll be able to take it from here as well. Excellent. All right, let's go back to the slides. Bear with me 1 second, everyone. So now, after showing you some of our main features and functionality, I will now share a short video of why some of our members chose Better Impact and what they love about our software.
So why did I select this product? It integrated with my background check product. I can tell you that the sales and customer support people are outstanding. Direct contact with a person that's talking me through all of the steps, doing training for us and my whole team. And inside the product is so much help. 24/7, you can chat with a person who's really a person. At 3 o'clock in the morning, when we were first converting, I was talking, I was playing, I was trying to figure out something. I hopped onto the chat and I was thinking, there's nobody going to be around at 3 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. And lo and behold, within a couple minutes, I was talking to a guy who was on the other side of the globe, who was answering all of my questions for me. It is fun and kind, and I don't ever feel stupid. So I can't say enough about the customer support and the sales part.
Yeah, it was value for money and on budget for what we wanted. Easy to implement. We had 300 volunteers already on the books. So we were able to extract the information into a spreadsheet, and then they took it away and uploaded all the information in the right place, gave the usernames and the passwords so that we could then write out to the volunteers with. Better Impact is I call it a cradle to grave. It's an application right the way through a volunteering journey. So once they do their application form, they're already setting up their volunteer page. But the team were very, very supportive, as I said already, very, very supportive.
Why did we go with Volunteer Impact? Because there were a few other options out there for us. It's definitely an affordable management system. It was something, it actually cost us less to move towards Better Impact than it was with our former system. There were a lot of volunteer-centered features, allowing the volunteers to own their own experience. And that was something that we saw right off the bat. We had heard of some great features like self-scheduling, and how volunteers can go in and update and change their own addresses, schedule time off for vacations. So these were things that were definitely selling points for us. My impact page gives the volunteers the opportunity to absolutely own their experience with us. Everything that they need is at their fingertips. If they need extra resources or easy ways to communicate with us, it's all there through that.
I've been using Better Impact since about 2016, 2017, and I absolutely love it. My favorite part of the system, and it's really hard to actually just come up with one thing, but I would certainly focus on the personal profile reporting. You can fully customize it to get as much data as you need, as much information as you need, or as little as you need in that one report. It's incredible.
And so now that you have learned a little bit about Volunteer Impact, I'll now share with you Better Impact's background. Okay, so Better Impact started by fluke, actually. So our CEO, Tony's passion project of building a web-based volunteer management software solution for a residential hospice he founded actually birthed the beginnings of a global We're Here to Help company. We are 20 plus years old now. We are a small company, but we have a global impact. We have offices here in UK, Canada, USA, and Australia. And we do have customers all over the globe. We specialize in volunteer management software, Volunteer Impact, which is what we've been focusing on today. But we are also providers of donor, client, and member solutions as well that all integrate with a Volunteer Impact. And lastly, we are a We're Here to Help company.